Everybody, Chris here. So with the pullback in the crypto markets, we're seeing some other YouTubers saying, oh, crypto's crashing. No, it's not crashing. But we do have some other issues to talk about, other worries, and we're going to be covering all that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. So remember back in February when we had these Bitcoin ETFs and everybody was like, oh yeah, all this money flowing into the crypto world, we're going to the moon. Well, I did say back then that be careful what you wish for, because we don't know what really happens when all of the institutions then start having all this money into crypto, particularly Bitcoin, and what can happen. And we're seeing a little bit about that. We'll talk about that. But also back then we were talking about the upcoming Bitcoin halving, and I was saying be careful about the halving, because after the halving we may see a pullback, we may see a letdown, and we may be experiencing a little bit of that too. So let's get into that. And also, another of my biggest worries about banks and the SEC and the IRS and the FBI and all of that, particularly here in the United States. And I'm going to rant a little bit more about that too. So let's get into it. Let's take a closer look. I'll show you what I'm looking at. So we'll start here looking at the Dogecoin chart. Yeah, Dogecoin's 15 cents. 15 cents. Yeah, this doesn't look great, right? It's a little down. But overall, again, what do I say? I say, look at the bigger picture. We zoom out to the 4 hour and we're still sideways. This is still sideways trading. The world is not ending. Crypto is not crashing. Guys, look at Bitcoin, 63.6 now. Yes, we've dropped below 65, but here we look like, 1 week ago we were down at 60K, dipping down to 59, and Bitcoin's not doing that. So yeah, we had this little sell-off yesterday, and we'll show that what's going on. But also on Doge, it was like, someone in the comments said, oh, Doge just keeps going down. Like, I'm getting out of Doge. I'm selling it all. Okay, well, what are you buying? Because everything's down. We got a little bit Pepe of movement now starting to happen. A little bit of WorldCoin. Maybe a little bit of Tron. Did you buy those? Because everything else is red. And we look at the next 200 and we're like, looking pretty red to me. Everything's red. We go to the third page and we're like, well, let's see what's in the third page. See what's going on. Oh, baby Doge is up. Hey, buddy, did you sell Dogecoin and did you buy baby Doge? Is that what you bought? Because that's about the only thing that's up. Everything else is down. So don't give me that. Like, it's just Doge. It's not just Dogecoin. Everything else is down. So first there's that. And then we've got like George last night, like what was his video? Bitcoin crashed today. No, Bitcoin didn't crash. And actually when he started his live stream, one of the first things he said was, well, it's not really crashing. But that's what was on his cover. His thumbnail was Bitcoin crashed. And then overnight we got Daryl like, crash. No. Guys, not crashing, not crashing. What does Bitcoin Archive say? The thing about dips is they sow doubt in the minds of people. Otherwise, there would be no dips. So, fear and doubt equals opportunity. So, is this an opportunity? Or are you going to be just down and saying, crypto's crashing, everything's going to zero? Because some in the comments say, you guys are just talking about like Dogecoin to $5. And it's like, no, the experts are saying Dogecoin to 5 cents. It's like, no, there's no Dogecoin. There's no expert saying Dogecoin is going to 5 cents. And if you look at what I say, now I show some charts that do show that there, if Dogecoin follows the same pattern it did before, there is a potential by the end of this year and into next year, we could see Dogecoin well over $1. And that is true, and that hasn't changed. And this expert, this guy, right, is not saying Dogecoin's going to 5 cents. And I've never said that. And I still don't believe that's true. Unless there's some huge black swan event that's going to crash the entire crypto market, which I'm going to show you some news that kind of puts a black cloud over things. But That's not happening. So here's the ETF thing. What happened yesterday? ETFs sold off yesterday. So that was that Bitcoin sell-off that we had there. That's that, right? Big sell-off happening. And in fact, for the first day, we actually had no inflows into BlackRock's IBIT ETF. So what's kind of happening here? We had all this growth here. It's like, this was awesome. Like late January, February, and into March, we had this big growth. And since then, it's been rather flat. It's been rather flat. There's been some grayscale outflows, but mostly they've kind of been matched by inflows. But now we've got another day where it didn't match. So we've got that. We don't know what's going to happen with this whole ETF thing going forward. There's clouds about the ETH ETFs and whether they're even going to be approved in May or not. So we don't know. So we have all of that. Do we really want to talk about institutions and how institutions are going to control cryptocurrencies going forward or not? So there's a big question about that. But the biggest thing that's bothering me right now are these kinds of things, right? Our law enforcement use of financial surveillance here in the United States. The House Judiciary Committee, this was last month. They held this committee on the federal government, on federal law enforcement's use of financial surveillance. So what is this financial surveillance and what's going on? Well, it started in the wake of this January 6th committee, right? So, and I don't want to get into politics and all of that, but this opens the door because they can start looking not only at these January 6th people, but they start looking at more. And they start widening their financial surveillance granted to them by law when there is a credible criminal threat. Well, what becomes a credible criminal threat? And what can you then start looking at? So that's where it starts. Then we got the SEC. They're hit with a new lawsuit alleging mass surveillance of Americans through stock market data. So what are they doing, right? They're starting to open the door and starting to look at our records, right, and what we're doing. So we have that. And then we've got the IRS, right? They're using AI to detect crypto tax fraud. What is this? Right? Again, it's opening the door more, just looking at our records. What are they getting away with here? So concerns rise. IRS employs AI to monitor crypto transactions. And what does this lead to, right? Well, it leads to the IRS targeting the middle class. What we have learned is that the IRS, in fact, has been using AI to access bank accounts of American citizens without any kind of search warrant. This was something that was just discovered by an undercover journalist. What they found is that the IRS has claimed that they have access to every single person's bank account. Wow. Okay, so where does that go from here? Well, again, starting to put the pieces together. There's this talk about this proposal to raise the capital gains tax. And the capital gains tax would be on the wealthy, would be on the elite, so probably doesn't apply to most people. But again, it starts to open the door. And when it starts to open the door then becomes wider. And what does that mean? Well, U.S. capital gains tax. Do you know why this will eventually happen? Because you and I are 10% of the population, those striving to build wealth. And that's what I've been talking about is wealth building, right? The other 90% are more than happy to pull you down to their level. So that's, right, that's everyone else. You will see that high capital gains taxes will be approved. They just purposely imported, the whole migrant thing. Again, don't want to get into all the politics of it, but over time, more and more wealthy people will find living in the USA infeasible and will leave. But things will probably be all right. Well, worst case scenario, from a purely financial point of view, American standard of living will drop. Okay? It's going to drop. No biggie, right? The problem with that, though, is that in the USA, the family unit has been destroyed through hyper-individualism. Poor people in other countries support each other and live decently, but in the US, they turn to drugs, other self-destructive behavior, leads to homelessness. This could be the spiral that's going down, and they're taking away our civil liberties, and they're taking away our financial freedom. So what can we do about it? Well, we still think we can build our own wealth with cryptocurrencies. Stock market investing has been good, but crypto has this bigger potential. And that's what I've been talking, that's what I'm preaching about, and that's what I'm actually doing. And I'm still continuing to do that despite these ominous clouds. But this should be a bigger worry to us who are trying to build wealth than what's happening in small terms. Is like this trading of crypto in the short term isn't a big deal. But then you've got like head and shoulders alert, Dogecoin could see a price crash soon. Well, Dogecoin must hold 14 cents. This guy's got this semi-quasi head and shoulders thing that seems to be forming on a chart. But overall, is that really happening? And is this a big deal? I don't think so. I don't see it. It's kind of a weird like double shoulder and double head. So do we see a double shoulder happening on this side or something? It could play out that way, but I don't see that as being a big deal. Dogecoin flashes buy signal now. So that's what we're really talking about, right? Is we're on a dip. Is this a buy signal again? That's what I was talking about a couple months ago, is look to end of April, early May, because we'll see a dip in the crypto market. And this is what you should be looking at, is what the buy signals are, because there are potential uptrends on Doge and other cryptos that I see happening. And is this the time to really buy the dip? So that's kind of my overall take right now on the markets. Look, it's sideways trading. Don't get all zeroed in on what's happened in the past couple days, because it's happened everywhere. If you're going to sell crypto, and then what are you going to do? You're going to leave your money sitting in the bank where it inflates away, or are you going to really truly try and build wealth? Despite these other ominous clouds and whether this capital gains tax happens and the surveillance and all of that, it's like, well, in the United States, we have to live with that. It's going to be what it's going to be. If I end up having to pay a larger capital gains tax, ugh. But there's still a path to financial freedom, and we have to keep fighting it. And we have to, I mean, vote, right? Look at the politicians who are against this. Vote. That's what we can do. That's our way out to help us. Use your voice. Use social media. Get the word out there. And buy the dips, guys. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this. Is this a bigger deal or not? Give the video a like if you haven't already. Please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.